Looking forward to Jess Hisel and the Chasing Liberty with Jacob Vandenplas. Jake's got a little bit of glitchiness going on tonight, so we'll see how that goes. But other than that, how you doing up there, buddy? It's just yeah, you can say
Other
other
than
than
that,
that.
I'm alive and well. A little sore today.
What they making you work? Oh, you're planting, aren't you?
No, we actually, I rescued a beehive last night. No, we rescued it last night, and I got stung a few times and a little sore, little sore. But
How do
that's
you
all
rescue a beehive?
right.
How do you rescue a beehive? How do you rescue a beehive?
Well, actually, this was a pile of honeybees. This was a pile of honeybees that was actually underneath the floor of somebody's shed. So we actually had to cut a hole in the shed floor and dug all the bees out by hand and shoved them into a beehive. And then hopefully we had the queen that made it into the beehive, and then the rest of the bees will follow the pheromones and fill up the hive. And then as soon as I'm done with this show, I got to go back and pick that hive up and get it set in its permanent spot. But I definitely got stung a few
Yep, and you'll probably get stung more tonight. So
very painful wrists. So
yeah,
I got
so
stung more times.
we're gonna
Kind
jump
of
right
kind of happens dealing with bees, but that's all right.
we're gonna jump right into this and see how far this goes. So the the big thing this week is everything is going
Hopefully my
around
internet will hold up.
right. I think there's a little delay in sound too. Everything's been Roe v. Wade, right? And everything, all my tickers that are coming off is just Roe v. Wade stuff. It's insane. And we talked about this a couple weeks. We both said our piece. One of the things that I thought was interesting on all this stuff is Tony Evers, right here in Wisconsin, governor, declared Saturday that if doctors are prosecuted under the Wisconsin 1849 abortion law, he'll offer them clemency, which I think is interesting. So if you're a doctor and you do this, you do an abortion and expect Tony Evers to give you clemency, how much can you trust that word right now? I'm going to go for a no on that one. So it's still safer to pop over to Illinois or Minnesota. I know. It's insane. Absolutely insane. Couple questions that came up that I thought were really interesting was do you think anyone will commit suicide since they can't get an abortion? I thought that was interesting. So potentially, if somebody can't get an abortion, would they commit suicide? Also, another one: do you think that boyfriends or husbands could potentially murder them because they can't get an abortion? Couple ones that came up, and I think he froze. So, if you want any more for information about Roe v. Wade, we talked about this 2 weeks ago on our show, which would have been 15th. 29th is today, so minus 14. And maybe Jake's going to pop back on here soon. One of the things that I did some research on was the Wisconsin Senate race for Ron Johnson and the Democrats that they're talking about. He popped off. He'll come back on. He's got the link for it. So interesting. Marquette University Law School just did a poll, and they showed that some of the Democrats that are running right now are leading Ron Johnson only by like a couple points. So number one, that's going to be a close race because you've always got the margin of error in those polls. Plus, I am personally am not a Marquette University Law School poll person because they don't put independents on there, and sometimes libertarians, sometimes Green Party, kind of depends on how they feel, and that's what I hate about it. And they're skewing their numbers because they've got so many people. They know how they poll, so they can just poll the same people to skew their own poll results. So I don't really trust any of that. So, hey, welcome back, buddy.
We made her. We made her.
Amen. You even sound better.
Don't know how long it's gonna last though.
We're good. So, one of the things I wanted to jump into was Ron Johnson versus Democrats. Yes, we'll keep our fingers crossed. Um, Mandela Barnes. is obviously one of the Democrats that's running against Ron Johnson. I thought it was interesting. So I got this out of the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. Mandela Barnes didn't file any tax returns in 2018. So that means when he was running in 2017, he didn't make any money. Or he didn't make enough to cross that margin, which is right around $11,000 in Wisconsin, $10,000 nationally, right? So he was on Badger Care, but he didn't
Yeah.
take unemployment or food stamps or anything. But interesting, his campaign had spent over $15,000 on him as he was traveling Wisconsin. Interesting, because he still had bills and he still had everything else coming in, and he said his people said that he was living off of the estate, which his family's estate because they'd sold the place. Here's what's interesting: if you take more than $13,500 a year, that's the maximum that you can take for a donation from a family member. Other than, and then you have to pay taxes on it above that. So unless his living expenses was below $13,500, which we know it wasn't, he was committing tax fraud, which is bullshit. And not only how did he pay his own bills, but he also bought a condominium in Milwaukee that same year for $107,000. I thought that was interesting. Which he got from his family.
They're all crooks.
I know, right? Yeah.
I
Right after the election, he bought another condominium in Madison too. Yeah. So he's getting all this money from his family. He's committing tax fraud. And interesting, he did not pay his taxes on the house in Milwaukee, so he had back taxes on that. So he had property taxes issues. He wasn't paying parking tickets. He went to renew a vehicle, couldn't renew it because he had outstanding parking tickets. He couldn't even pay those, and he was fined $16,052 or $1,652 for election finance violation. This is our lieutenant governor. This is the guy that's running against Ron Johnson, who's pushing
Yeah.
it that people are throwing money at. It's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
The money in politics overall is disgusting.
Yeah. One more about Barnes. As of today, he's got 898 hours he's used from the State Patrol Office, which is about $36,000 of our taxpayer money, driving him around to events, to church, to ice fishing. So they're taking him around to personal events, which they should not be doing. Yes, at this
You can
rate,
do that?
no, you can't. That's the thing. They're not supposed to take you around to personal events. That's by this end of this year, it could be $220,000 that taxpayers are going to be on the hook for.
Wow.
Interesting. Rebecca Kleefisch, when she was lieutenant governor, only had 95 and a half hours from the state patrol, and she only ran it up to $4,300, and she could not use it for protection from personal events, but yet he is. Same guy that wanted to increase our taxes by $1.3 billion.
Well, he's got to pay for the new gas prices.
Right? Yeah, he's got to fund his state patrol, right? It's a joke. But this is the guy. So I said, hell no will I ever vote for this dude, right? So I'm like, who are the other Democrats running? So there's three other ones: Sarah Godlewski, Alex Lasry, and Tom Nelson.
Yep.
So Sarah Godlewski, hopefully I'm saying that right. She's a state treasurer right now. All right, she hasn't
I
paid
think
taxes.
so, yeah.
Yeah, she hasn't paid taxes in 2 years. She's a millionaire. Out of the last 4 years, she only averages like $413 a year that she pays taxes on, and she's a millionaire. She writes off like the charity, investments, development credits, venture investments. She says she has a master's degree, but she doesn't. Says she saved the Pentagon $20 million, but there's no proof. So I'm like, okay, this lady's out. Can't vote for her either. So what's my next one? Alex Lasry. He's the Bucks guy, Milwaukee Bucks. So his parents bought the Bucks. This cat's from New York. They moved here when they bought the Bucks. His parents gave him $50 million. He gets a $300,000 salary. He received $24,000 in property taxes from Texas and Wisconsin. then are only supposed to be applied to his primary residence. So I'm like, this cat's out. So I'm like, all right, who do I got left? Tom Nelson. And this guy's running dead last with Democrats right now. He was a former state legislator for 8 years, and he's the Outagamie, up in your neck of the woods, the Outagamie County Executive. Yeah, he's been there for 10
I've
years.
actually met Tom Nelson.
Tell me what you think, because I tried to find dirt on this guy and I can't. He seems like a pretty cool cat.
I could tell you he was you could have a conversation with the guy. He's
Yeah,
open, willing to listen, and obviously I take a heavy weight into any of the other party's candidates that are willing to actually sit down and listen to the Libertarian Party. Those that don't, they can go pound sand. And there's several candidates that I will not talk nicely about because they just simply refuse to recognize us. So I simply refuse to recognize them.
yep.
A lot of gubernatorial candidates in the state of Wisconsin are in that boat, and I just won't do it. Now, Tom Nelson, when I was able to talk to him, it was for only about 10 minutes at the there was an event that the Democrats had, their winter social fundraiser or something like that. Great food, uh,
Yeah.
comics. It was a great time to get together. But no, I was able to shake his hands. Tall guy, smooth hands. So it doesn't. I don't think he's ever done any actual manual labor. Whichever. I guess we need some people behind computers too. Um, I thought he was all right. I thought he was all right, but I also did have Ron Johnson's office call, not actually Ron Johnson himself. I still haven't been able to have a conversation with him either, which, again, in my eyes, weighs a lot. So we'll see what ends up happening, especially in the Democratic primary. But we'll see where it goes. It's some interesting times, and we'll see who can pull forward. And the Democratic Party, I can tell you right now, is really, really pushing for Ron Johnson's seat. They got all their eggs in that basket, along with trying to maintain what's his name? Skeletor. Tony Evers. There we go. For governor. So
I
sorry if
like it.
that was politically correct, but my bad.
No,
The
I like it.
bet on this is a little difficult, but we're going through this.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you're overseas and you're
But
talking
no.
somebody's in Europe or Southeast Asia and you're calling back to the United States. The delay sucks, by the way. Um, so
Yes, it does.
yeah, so the Democrat ones, I'm going to be honest, I'm not a fan yet. Maybe when Tom Nelson comes up, other than that, I'm tapped out. But the Ron Johnson now. So Ron Johnson, he's taken a lot of shit, right? Especially when you get into some of the COVID stuff that he was saying. Some COVID stuff, actually, he was spot on with, and he was asking a lot of questions. But some stuff he was saying was just out there. Like he was, I don't know what the heck he was thinking when he was saying it. Maybe like the mouthwash one. Um, yeah, I liked it when he was talking about natural immunity. I thought that was awesome. He said it, COVID could cause AIDS. Talked about some of the deaths from the vaccines, which I liked. I was like, that's awesome because people need to know this stuff as well. Um,
Yeah.
so I like that. And he was going after VIRS, which I loved because the Udra Vigilance, that's the one that Europe uses. It's the same. It's like VIRS over in Europe. So VIRS is what is it? Vaccine adverse events, something like that. So side effects from vaccine.
Yeah.
Europe
Yeah.
Europe had a shit ton more events and effects from the vaccines than the United States did. Same companies were making them, but
I
yet we
don't.
were.
I, did we even accurately, or is that all kind of swept under the rug?
No, it wasn't really quoted accurately at all. There was a lot of things that was taken off. A lot of them weren't put on there. A lot of them weren't even reported to them. So yeah, it was just a messed up situation. So hopefully we can just all get past COVID. I don't even talk about COVID. To be honest with you, I hate it.
Oh, people are so done with. I've. The ramifications. It gets really, really frustrating. Well, because I hear people COVID. The COVID caused this virus. Okay, COVID did not cause. Our government's reaction to this virus is what caused this mess. Governments can't fix this. Governments can't really fix anything. They are not adequate with solving anything. And more often than not, the government solution is worse than the problem itself. So look, we lost how many million people did we lose for COVID in America? Over a million people? Was it 800,000? I'm not certain. Say it's a million. Okay. So now with the ramifications of everything shutting down, say 6 months from now, the food stores start running out of shelves. How many people are going to die then? Okay. How many people? It's going to snowball. Okay. We're going to have diesel shortages. They're talking about diesel shortages. They're talking about shutting down the number of pipeline. Propane's going to skyrocket. I mean, all of this stuff, this is all stems from the government reaction. Inflation is going to leave more people homeless than you can even imagine. Okay, but we were looking at buying a new car. Not a shot in hell. Can't afford it with everything else. It's not happening. I'm sticking money into an old Suburban that has 300,000 miles on it because that's all we got left for a backup vehicle. Besides driving around in a farm truck. This is, and we're at the tip of the iceberg for this inflation. This economy is going to snowball into something that these generations of Americans have yet to see. Okay, I promise you, come next summer, everybody's going to be gardening. I promise. If you got to leave in a little spot in the front yard, you're going to be growing something. That's going to be coming back. I still remember both my grandparents. Okay, both my grandpas had gardens in their backyard. Okay, they had gardens in their backyard because they had to, because they couldn't afford food for 5 kids for an entire year. Okay, this was back in the 70s when they did have gas shortages. They still remember that stuff. They still remember to be more dependent upon themselves than dependent upon the systems that we have in place. Right now, so many people are so dependent upon this system. If the grocery store runs out of food, guess what? They're screwed. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to go from there. This is not the proper place to be. We have to become more dependent upon ourselves. And there's that's going to take a cultural change. And that's going to actually take decentralization of our government. And we start putting that stuff back into the hands of the people and back in local governments and communities coming together, then yeah, we can survive. But as long as we have a strong centralized government like we have right now, which is controlled by either the Republicans or the Democrats, we have ourselves in a bad spot. We really, really do.
So, no, you're absolutely right. I loved everything you said, and you said something at the end. Republicans and Democrats, they are letting it fail, and they're letting us take the goddamn fall for it, and we're the ones suffering. They're not suffering at all. It's us, and people keep giving them money, thinking that they're going to fix it. Stop giving them money. They're not fixing anything.
So you started off with Roe v. Wade, okay? Republicans and Democrats have used abortion to fundraise millions off of the American people for decades. Decades, they use this topic to fundraise off of you with absolutely no intention whatsoever of doing anything, okay? If it was critically important for guess what? When Barack Obama had a supermajority, a veto-proof majority, you could have had a one-line piece of legislation, passed it through in an afternoon, and been done.
Yep.
No, they didn't do shit. They left it on the table so that they continue to fundraise off of it. You had the Republicans had a majority in 2016.
Uh-oh.
Okay, and this isn't the first time. Party, did I freeze?
A little bit. You're good. Keep going. You're good now.
All right. They use it to fundraise. As soon as the Supreme Court leak came, the Democratic Party, the National Party, started to fundraise immediately. Okay, they generated $12 million off the American people from the time that leaked to the time that it just came out officially from SCOTUS. $12 million. $12 million fundraised off of this.
So my question is why now? I heard it. I heard it. You gotta ask why now. Why did they
Yeah, that
overturn
was a motorcycle. It was a
Tell me.
motorcycle. It sounded like a very angry bumblebee. Yeah, I want to
So I've always
ride.
asked the question, why now? Why did the
What was your
Democrats
question?
overturn it now? Is because they needed the election. Democrats were going to get run over in November. If this is huge for them because now they can campaign off of this and collect millions of tax dollars because they're going to use this as a topic. That's all. I think that's one of the reasons why that was done.
They too, and but I also think that thing is going to die 4 or 5 weeks from now. No one's going to be talking about it. Okay, the more and
Depends
more
on
that
how
we're
much.
seeing inflation, that's where it's going to be key. If the inflation in the economy starts to even worse, disappear. Gas prices keep going up. People's everyday lives is what they are going to be most concerned about. Okay, and the reality of the matter is the blue states are still going to have abortion. Okay, the red states are not going to have abortion. The red states that don't have abortion, there's going to be a black market for abortions. That's what happens every single time that we try to legislate morality. Okay, doesn't work. It's ineffective. Not just some of the time, not just 50% of the time or 80% of every single time any government has ever tried to legislate morality, it has created a black market. Okay, convince me otherwise. I'm happy to hear arguments, but this is what we have seen with actual evidence.
Nope.
Um,
They're already
but
doing the
people,
Planned Parenthoods, the Plan Bs. They're already starting to do that stuff. It's happening.
yeah,
Jobs are
but
paying, so they go to other states doing their health insurance. It's going to be a black
yeah.
market almost like you were talking about. Like,
Speaking of companies actually paying for their employees to go to other states, think about that. If these organizations already have that kind of money, why aren't they having that kicked into their insurance already to begin with?
it's a political
Okay,
statement. It's political statements that these people are saying.
yeah,
It's great that
but
they're
I
talking.
really,
I love it.
I really do think though that this is not going to be a topic that's actually going to persuade the election in November that much.
Ooh,
I really, really don't.
I don't know.
I don't. I see it. I see it affecting statewide races
Okay.
big time. I don't think it's going to affect the federal races whatsoever.
We'll see. We'll see. I don't know if it's enough to really oversway it. I think the
Oh,
Democrats are screwed it up. No, you're back a little bit. I think the Democrats have screwed it up so bad that I don't know if they're going to be able to come back from
okay.
this, even with whatever they do. But hey, really quick, I want to finish up Ron Johnson because we can get carried away on sometimes on some shit. So Ron Johnson is the sixth most richest Senate member that we have in the United States. He's roughly, according to OpenSecrets.com, between 14 million and 64 million, and it's definitely on the upwards of the 64 million. So, and I got no problems with somebody's rich as long as they're doing the right thing. But the reason I got upset with him is because on that 2017 tax bill, when he held out because he wanted those pass-through laws taken into effect, that's where I started questioning why. So pass-throughs, so the companies are taxed at rates for individual taxpayers, but those profits then go out to the owners. So like when they sell the company or something like that. So he's able to lower that percentage from like 37% down to like 20 or even lower. But I mean like Amazon and GE and them guys are like at 21%. So it doesn't really freaking matter to them. But when he sold his plastics company, because after that bill was passed, he immediately got people in there to start researching who was going to buy his company. So in 2020, when he sold his company, he made 25 million, opposed to the 5 million that was worth at the start of that. So he did that for him. That's the way I see it. And he's so pissed off at Joe Biden and Hunter Biden because of the Bidens are making money. And I'm not a Hunter Biden fan in any way, nor a Joe Biden fan. But his three kids bought a house, and then they were able to make it a historic property without going through the whole channels in the government in Wisconsin. and now they're getting tax incentives because it's a historic property now and it's worth a crap ton more. And they got the money, the three kids got the money from mom and dad. So in reality, mom and dad bought it. So there's tax fraud again, and they're getting extra money. So he's doing the exact same thing that the Bidens were doing. And he's an asshole to Hunter and Joe about it. He's a hypocrite.
It's a great big club. It's a great big club, and you and I ain't in it.
No, no.
That's what it is.
No.
And you exemplified it perfect, okay? This is exactly what the American people are tired of. They are tired of their elected officials abusing the system for their own not even political gain, but for their own profit. Okay? We see this over and over and over again. It's on both parties. We like to call it the establishment. I like to call them Republicrats. They're kind of working together. But this is what I mean. When I say that our politicians vote first for their donors, second for their party, and then third for their constituents, this is what we're seeing. They're able to pass legislation that works in their favor to pad their pockets to play the system. This is what this literally is taxation without representation. Okay, right now we have more laws in the books, and our government is 100 times more authoritarian than what it ever was with King George back in 1776. Okay, where are the Americans that tossed a whole ship of tea for cent? Okay, where are those Americans?
Wasn't
I
that
call you
like
friend.
$4,000? It was a really low amount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a little bit, and we're like, no. And then dumped a whole freaking ship of tea right into the Boston Harbor. You know what? This is what we need to do. We need to stand together and stand against this, okay? Our political battle is not right versus left. It's we the people versus an authoritarian government. And as long as we have two political parties that are pinning Americans against each other, authoritarian the government's gotten. And it is starting to get terrifying. And we all see it. We all see it. And every time that I'm out into the community, especially when I'm talking to the Republican side, I hear over and over and over again, I love the libertarian message. I'd love to vote libertarian, but I can't because I'm going to split the vote. I look them right back in the eye and say, listen, I'd much rather vote for liberty and lose than vote for tyranny and win, because this is what has gotten us into this mess. We all see what the problem is, but these politicians, government systems, what we've got set up, continue to push the fear tactics. That's why everything is a war. Everything is a crisis. It's always this big. Y'all created this, okay? It's only a crisis because you want it to be. Because if we're running around in fear, we're more willing to actually give up our liberties and securities in order to have it fixed. And they know this. That's the strongest emotion that they can play on. And they do it regularly. And it's bullshit.
As soon as a third party or an independent starts coming up, I guarantee you they're done. Because everybody's tired of voting that direction. Everybody hates it, but you're exactly right. They're voting for it so they don't sway that vote, or they don't let the other person win because they hate the other side so much. So this is what I'm saying right here in this Democrats versus Ron Johnson. We have shit on one side and we have shit on the other. So what do? How are we going to win from this? We have got to get the other people in there that actually want to make a change. If you're Republican, then run against Ron Johnson. If you're Democrats, get your damn name out there and do something. We've got to do. If not, join Liberty, join Libertarians, be an independent. It doesn't matter. Make a damn change. If we just let the same people go over and over, we'll always be in the same boat. What is it, Einstein? Doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting different results? Definition of an idiot?
That's the definition of insanity.
Insanity. Yeah.
So insanity. I think it's insanity.
Yep.
It's doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
And that's what it's come. That's where we're at. But I think the American people are starting to catch on.
Yeah. Where's the chat?
I know what I'm going to do for senator. I'm going to write in Jess Hisel for Senate.
I got some people that are still going to write me as governor. It's hilarious. I'm like, yeah, you guys go ahead. If I can get more votes than Mickey Mouse, because Mickey Mouse always gets votes, if I get more than that, that'd be awesome. That'd be hilarious. Um, so yeah, those are. That's why I wanted to go over that. And I'm glad you went into that. What was that saying you just said? If I'd rather vote liberty and lose than vote tyranny and win.
I'd rather vote for liberty and lose than continue to vote for tyranny and win.
Yeah, there you go. I like that. You can shorten it up. We need to make that bumper sticker. I want it, buddy.
And that's I tell you what, 2020 was the very first time that I voted third party, and it was one of the most exhilarating and freeing things that I had ever done.
Yeah.
It was a great big middle finger to the establishment because that is my vote. That's my vote. Okay, I finally peeled the band-aid off and voted my conscience because I could not continue to vote for either of these two parties. Okay. And when we look at this statistically, there's a small fraction. There's only, the last time I looked, it was 28% of Americans identify as Republican and 26% identify as Democrat, but 46% identify as independent. Okay, that's a huge voting block of people that think for themselves that they do not follow party lines. It's a lot. And those independent voters are going to make the difference in this election in 2022. They really, really are. And they're going to make the difference in 2024 because we, the people, are tired of this bullshit.
Yep.
We are tired of our income, our blood, sweat, and tears, and time that we have spent away from our families being robbed of us. We work harder now as a species to survive than we have ever had to work before. Okay, I live here on a farm. I know exactly what it takes to grow enough food to survive, to also cut and chop and stack firewood that I need to heat my home all winter. I know exactly the level of effort it takes to live a sustainable life. And then I still have to go to work for 40 hours a week to be able to afford it. Okay? That's not how this is supposed to be. The system is broken and it's been broken by government. The government will always have government solutions to government created problems, and it has to stop. We have to start working our government backwards. We have to start getting out of the mindset of a strong centralized government and start to decentralize this government, because with a decentralized government is more accountable to the people. And that is what matters. People are tired of our politicians not being held accountable for anything. On a rare occasion, politicians are held accountable for violating the Constitution of the United States or violating their oath of office. Okay, because I can tell you right now, if we actually held our politicians accountable to their oaths, not one of them will be sitting in office right now. They'd all be gone, all of them. And I'm in favor for that.
They'll do
We have to start voting different. We have to yeah, it's a criminal racket. It really is.
They'll go down to
if you really think about it,
there was a
it's
guy
a
down
big
in,
racket.
There was a guy down in it was Alabama that was busted for child predator, child molestation, whatever it was. I can't even remember. And he still held office. He was still charged, and he still held office. I mean, this is what the people are in, and they didn't take him out. He ended up not going up for re-election. It's a racket. Green Bay, I believe you guys lost your mayor for some issues. Was it a couple years ago? It was. I think he had some issue. I'm pretty sure it was Green Bay. I'll look that up.
Yeah, I remember that, but I don't remember what it was for.
I don't remember. I don't remember. When you go on your next rant, I'm on it, buddy. I'll figure out what it was for. Hey, are you ready?
Yeah. Breaking news time.
Breaking news time. Wait, are you horn? You got a horn for that. Oh man. I wasn't even okay. Breaking news: Beijing. Beijing announces that zero COVID policy may last for 5 years. So, Kei Kui, who's the Beijing secretary for the Chinese Communist Party, had a crap ton of backlash when she came out with this. She ended up retracting. First, it was 5 years she took off, and then she ended up taking the whole saying off because there was so much backlash. But if you remember, right before COVID came out, what was going on in China and Beijing? Protests. Thousands and thousands of people in protests. They took this down, I think, because they were going to protest again. I think that's what they're scared of. I think that's why they kind of keep going into lockdown. That they keep making a shit ton of money off the U.S. Yeah. Did you freeze? Oh, I think you froze. Oh.
They're scared of the
Well,
people standing up. I think I'm back. Am I back?
Yep, you're back. There you go. You're back. Yep, you're good. You're good, buddy.
All right. All right.
Here.
No, they're afraid of the people standing up. Okay. So, and that's, we got to remember, that's why it is absolutely critical that we, the people of the United States of America, stand up and hold our own government accountable. Okay. We are liberty for the world. We're the only country that is freedom.
Oh, you're kind of. I think he's kind of cutting out on us. I think he's cutting out on us. I think we lost him. Okay. Oh, Jake.
Oh. Am I back?
Let's turn him off for just a second here. See if it can refresh. See if that works. Did we get you back?
Am I back?
They're back. All right, we cut you off. All right, so holding people accountable. That's where you were going with it. I think that's the last I heard. You were really choppy. But holding people accountable for people standing up, kind of like what China is about ready to do, right? Yeah.
I believe so. So we, the people of America, got to stand up and hold our government accountable. When we hold our government accountable, that sends a message to the rest of the world that they too can stand up against their own authoritarian government. We, as citizens of the United States of America, are the light of liberty for the world. We have to stand together. We have to work within our communities, and we have to hold our politicians accountable. Vote them all out of office. I hear F Joe Biden all the time. How about F them all? Okay. There's a small handful of them that actually care, that are actually abiding by the Constitution of the United States, but that is a rarity. And when they do, they want to be on the pedestal. No more. Okay. That is the standard. That is the standard, is following and abiding by your oath of office. Can we do that? Can we do that for a little while, please? Sincerely, we the people.
Yeah. That would be awesome. Hey, you're Green Bay. Looks like the last one, the current one you got, there's election issues, getting access to like absentee ballots, all kinds of other stuff. So that's going on. And then the one before that, Jim Schmidt is facing misdemeanor charges for violating state election laws. So Green Bay has got elections. That's in your district, buddy. It's in District 8. You gotta clean that crap up.
Yep.
Yep, that's on your agenda.
I'm working on it. I'm doing everything I can, I promise.
Yeah. Okay.
First, I'm going to start with a couple of beehives.
Speaking of pain in the something, we got a video for you. The Nancy Pelosi video. And hopefully you cannot skip on it. You gotta see this. This is yeah.
Oh.
This is your girl, buddy. Bring this up here. There we go. So Nancy Pelosi's right here in the middle, and this little girl's right here on the side. Okay, they're getting ready to take this. Little girl is the daughter of Myra Flores. So Myra Flores is a brand new GOP congresswoman. They're swearing her in. We're getting ready. Those were her kids. So Pelosi's in for the picture, right? Here, and get back up
Yeah.
there. Oh, yeah, right there, right there. Oh, get out of my way. Kind of gives you a little bump right there. Kind of pushes her out. And look at this smile on her face the whole time. Just kind of pushes her right out. Look at this.
Uh,
Wait, why was she doing this? She says so the little girl wouldn't be hidden behind her in photos. I
what?
despise this woman. New York Post posted that. Oh, I despise this
I
woman. I cannot stand her.
is she again at 22 or is she finally retiring?
I have no idea. I hope she's not running again. I haven't kept up. I hate reading stuff about her. I hate it. She's toxic. She's done nothing but destroy everything she touches. The Affordable Care Act, her and a couple people behind closed doors ruined that. Could have been amazing for people. Could have really helped out. But healthcare costs have done nothing but skyrocket since they wrote that. Um, Everything she does is for her party, for herself, and I'm glad her husband got a fucking DUI. Got a DUI. Absolutely glad. Because she's not Catholic, she's alcoholic.
First for her donors. Like I
Yeah.
yeah,
Go ahead.
like I said, first for the donors, second for the party, third for the voters. Just seriously, you watch what they do, and you gotta jump on the FEC website, and you have to be watching where these politicians' donors are coming from. Okay. No, I understand grabbing some donors from out of state. I get it. Okay. I'm sure I'm going to have to take some money from out of state because I'm a third party and I need every single penny I can get my hands onto. But these are coming from libertarian organizations, liberty minded organizations. These aren't coming from major corporations that want to buy influence in Congress. So now think about this. If you had the means, in order to be able to buy your business or your fortune protections through a legislator, why wouldn't you? But this is also why we need legislators that actually have the integrity to say no. It's enough. This is my oath. I swore an oath to the Constitution. I'm here to represent the people of the 8th Congressional District or whatever congressional district you're in, or the state of Wisconsin if you're a senator, and actually abide by that. Okay? We don't have that anymore. Okay? The people with the best message aren't the ones that are getting elected. Those that fundraise the best are the ones that are getting elected. So now we have a whole legislature full of really, really good fundraisers that have absolutely no clue that the legislation that they're passing, they don't think it through. Okay? They see that this is the problem, yet they don't even read it. In fact, I think that's on the back of my first run of business cards. They say the third party is a wasted vote. No, your representative not even reading the legislation that they're voting upon, that's a wasted vote. Period. Okay? If I can't leave and read the piece of legislation in a lot of time before the vote, it's going to be a hard no. Don't care what's in it.
Sort of like your
Period.
sort of like your 1,200 page COVID bill when it comes out, and it comes out for 2 days before they have to vote on it. Yeah. Hey, I got a chat here from a really beautiful lady, and she was talking about Nancy Pelosi. I love it. That'd be my wife.
She's an asshole.
No. She's awesome.
I believe there's a song like that, isn't there?
No, isn't that I'm?
No, I'm Nancy Pelosi's the asshole.
Right, I know. No, that's
I'm gonna have to look up that song now.
No, you don't use your computer, dude. Okay. you just look at the camera. You're good.
We're using up enough bandwidth just with this. Yes, don't touch nothing. Yeah. It's actually going really smooth right now. You're like real time. There's no delay.
Yes. Yeah, your words aren't. I can see them with your lips now. It's awesome. Breaking news.
Yes.
Russia is defaulted on its foreign currency. Its debt. So it can't pay its debt back. Can you believe this? So the sanctions and the country is not accepting the rubles now.
Really?
They're not allowed to pay off their debt. So, and they're like, well, you don't accept it. What do you want us to do? So, they're just going to keep selling their oil, opening it back up, and now they don't have to pay off their debt. Okay, cool. Thanks. All right, I'll see you guys later. I don't understand it. Yeah, so I keep looking at following the money. All I can see is about fuel. Yeah. Did you know fuel at one point was free?
Yeah. Actually, gasoline is technically a byproduct of manufacturing diesel. They used to dump it into the ground because they didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah. Yes. Yep. Yeah.
Try to get some of that back, please.
Here, Gerald Ford, you want to do that's look, that's how chicken wings or Buffalo Wild Wings started, right? Yeah, I think it was the miners were on strike, and so they're like, there's fuel shortages, and so they had to find a way to pay for it. If I'm not mistaken, it was something like that. It was like Rothschild and BlackRock or something like that did it.
Yeah,
I'll have to look that up. Yeah, that was interesting. Those are the days back when shit was free. Breaking news. Dun, dun, dun. Inflation costs Americans about an extra $460 a month. $460.
that's a lot.
Yeah. I'm about, I know my gas is $75 times 4. So you're looking at, well, shit, that's $300 right there, right? It's 300 just in my truck.
I filled up the farm truck last week. It costs $160 to fill that tank. Yeah, absolutely insane. And now I drive propane truck here all day long. Every morning I stop and I dump in $200 into that fuel tank every day. Every day. When the cost to do business goes up, the cost of goods and services also go up. It's a snowball effect. Okay, so now think of your farmers. Okay, I'm a farmer. So now think about this. I order seeds. Okay, the seed price has gone up because those seeds have to be shipped to the farm. Okay, which adds to the cost of my produce. Now, I have to run a tractor and a tiller and all this other good jazz just to keep the stuff planted and maintained. That's extra fuel. Goes up as well. Now I got to transport this stuff to market. Extra fuel. Price goes up even further. Okay. So when you actually put into place how many times fuel is being used, the price of our fuel is absolutely extraordinary when it comes to getting business done in this country. Okay. And when it's harder to do business, less business gets done, the economy starts to slow every single time. And they're not doing anything about it. They could be lifting the regulations. This whole thing is caught. They're blaming Putin. No, it's not Putin. Okay, this is the sanctions that you put upon Russia, which have made absolutely zero effect. The sanctions they put on Russia was the intention was to hurt Russia, and it didn't hurt Russia whatsoever. It actually helped Russia, and is only hurting us. Yeah. You think that they're going to reverse it? Nope. I blows my mind how we can continue to go down this path. It is absolutely mind-boggling.
Yeah. Yep. And
what is Europe doing at twice the price? Europe right now is firing up all them green countries over there. They dumped billions and billions of dollars into creating green energies, and now they're firing up all them old coal plants right now. That's what they're doing. Mm-hmm. They're firing them right back up. That Greta Thunberg is just screaming right now.
I think I said last week that Germany is getting rid of their nuclear plants because they're getting old and they don't want to keep them up. But yet next door, and they're not green. But yet next door, France is like 70% nuclear. So it's like, what are you guys gaining? It's absolutely stupid. Germany's screwed, especially with all they buy Russian oil.
Oh yeah,
yeah, lots.
Yes, they do.
And we started importing over to.
And the crazy part is,
we're sending some of our oil over to Germany.
The amount of pipelines, Did we really?
Yeah, we do. Yep.
No wonder why
I know, right?
and then the amount of pipelines. Think about that. The amount of Russian pipelines that flow through Ukraine. Uh,
Yes. Yeah. Pumping more
make
oil.
it make sense. Somebody.
Pumping more oil today than they did before the war. Yeah. Before the restrictions. Before everything.
I,
And
they're going to start selling it because they got tons and tons of cheap oil. They're going to start selling it to India, and that's our next stop. The United States of Joe Biden's going to go try to talking to buy oil from India, and they're just going to buy it from Russia and mark it up and sell it back to America.
oh yeah.
You watch.
I think was it Ecuador or Venezuela? There's a bunch of protests going on down there, so they're going to shut down for a couple days too. So more coming at us. More coming at us. Hey, breaking news. Click on it. TSA in the U.S. has screened 2.45 million people on Friday. So last Friday, 2.45 million. It's the highest number since February 2020. Okay. They're picking back up the demand for airlines.
Now, when you mean screened,
going through TSA, the screening before you get onto a plane.
So that's just
in the U.S.
All right. So that's not. So that's just regular, normal TSA screening to go through the airport.
Correct. Yeah. Well, not like you have to go through TSA in order to get to the gates, right? You go to the ticket booth, pick up your ticket, and then you go through TSA to get to your. And only the people with tickets.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So that's a pretty good rough number of flying. So if the demand is coming back up, they still do not have the staff to be able to keep up with it. It's going to get worse. So I hopped on to flightaware.com. Okay, you can do yesterday, today, tomorrow, Friday. You can start looking at some of these flights. Total today, and this is global. Total today, in and out. Well, not this one. 4,537. Total flights. Total cancellations. 2422. I'm okay. I'm gonna make it. Okay. I'm sorry. Total cancellations with United States, just in the United States, is 631. Okay. Today is Wednesday. Okay. Tomorrow is going to be worse. Tomorrow, they're already sitting at 219 flights canceled. 4th of July is coming. This weekend's going to get busy. The cancellations are skyrocketing. They're getting worse. Yeah. You can actually.
I heard across the radio this morning. There's a lot of people. It's like a lot of people waited to want to take their honeymoons because of COVID, and they're taking a week or 2 week long vacation, and they're spending 3 days locked into airports because of flight delays and cancellations, and burning through good chunks of their vacation and their honeymoons just on flight delays.
Oh God, yeah. That's exactly what's happening. Chicago O'Hare had 124. They had so many flights. That was only 3%.
Don't get me started on Chicago. My flight from Chicago to Green Bay was canceled, and that was an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
Absolute nightmare, and I almost got my pizza stolen. It was bullshit.
I love the story too, by the way. Your China, Shanghai, China's screwed. They're not getting it. There's Toronto one. Other countries have it worse, so don't worry. So it's gonna get worse. Good luck on that one. I don't want to stir up any bad.
Yep.
I want to take that away for you.
No, I appreciate that. Chicago, yeah, that was. Yeah. And I was angry that night. I was really angry. It would not have ended well.
Nobody steals Jake's pizza. Nobody puts baby in a corner. Breaking news.
Don't touch my pizza.
Breaking news. Mike Gableman. Okay. This guy, I'm baffled at why they hired this guy. I really am. Some people like him. I don't know why. Mike Gableman. Go ahead.
Am I reading that correctly?
He was hired for the election review, to review all the elections across Wisconsin. The Republicans hired him. He's up to almost $1 million now that they paid him. So He didn't own a computer. You know what he did? He went to the New Berlin Public Library and used the library computer while he was making $11,000 a month. He was getting paid $11,000 a month and went to the public library and used their computer. And then this dude, he deleted
Holy
information.
tightwad.
Right? He's a conservative, right? He deleted information pertaining to elections.
Clearly.
Yeah.
I
know, right? It kind of had me going too. He wouldn't meet with Sacha Rose Conway, the mayor of Madison, because he's like, we need to meet. We need to talk about the election, problems in Madison. She goes, sure, I'll meet with you, but we're going to do it in public. And he goes, no, we're going to do it behind closed doors. She goes, no, then I don't want to do it. So they didn't meet because Gableman would meet with her in public to let the people hear. Yeah, this guy, and he did some shady shit with Scott Walker when he had his John Doe conspiracy charges against him. Yeah, we want to go down that road. But yeah, he used to be a judge. I'm sorry, I'm a huge not a fan of this guy. Not a fan. No. He did find some information. We've talked about it on the show. That information is public knowledge. That's what he found. He's not finding anything. This guy is.
No,
say about this guy.
We went. Think about this. Okay, we went 3.5 years of Russia collusion. Now we're gonna go 3.5 years of election integrity. Now, don't get me wrong. Okay, there's been election fraud in every single election in all of American history. Could we tighten some stuff up? Absolutely. Was there some extra shady shit pulled because of COVID? Absolutely. But I think the real concern for me is more the media influence than it is the election fraud. The media had a tremendous more influence on this election than any of the fraud that took place. And again, most importantly, okay, if the government was this big, it wouldn't matter if they cheated because it's not affecting your life. Okay, the resolve isn't just securing our elections. The also resolve is to decentralize our government and get everything back down held locally so that we can hold our politicians accountable. Okay, right now it's really hard to get to Washington, D.C. and holler at Nancy Pelosi for pushing kids around. Okay, we have to be able to hold our politicians accountable, and that is best served when governments are held local. Governments are most accountable to the people the closer that their governance is to home. Okay? If they only dealt with this much, it doesn't matter if they cheated. I'd much prefer if all of our elected officials in Washington, D.C. just sat up there and partied and didn't do anything. Okay? If something serious happens, give us a call. Otherwise, don't touch nothing. Don't touch it. Just leave it alone. Okay? It's fine. Call us if something important happens. Here's some booze. Party it up. Fancy gowns. Party it all up. All of your dignitaries and la-da-da. Just don't touch nothing. Okay? I'd much rather see that and then bring all of our tax dollars back home here so we can actually do something. We can actually take care of our communities. We can actually have the school systems that our children deserve. Okay, we can actually have the healthcare systems that we, the people, deserve. We can actually have the Social Security programs that we, the people, deserve. Right now, we're simply being robbed over and over and over again. We can't continue down this path. There needs to be a change, and the only way we will ever change Washington is if we change the people in Washington and we change the ideas in Washington. That's where the Libertarian Party comes into play, and we've grown like crazy. Every time I jump onto my email, we've got a handful of new people that are jumping on board. Right at the state level, our affiliates are growing. We're rocking with some awesome candidates. This is the time, not just for Wisconsin, but across the nation. Okay, a lot of people think that the Libertarian Party is just another political party of the United States of America, and it's not. It's much, much bigger than that. Okay, there's a libertarian movement across the globe. We have affiliates all over the place: Canada, Cuba, Mexico, Europe, Africa. Okay, Libertarianism isn't just a political party in the United States of America. This is a worldwide movement against authoritarianism and excessive force from the states. Period. Join us while we fight for liberty.
Remember in 2021.
That should have been a good closing. We are at the hour mark.
Well, I got one more breaking news for you. You're not done yet. In 2021, if I'm not mistaken, libertarians had the most elected officers, if I'm not mistaken. I think you guys had 70 or 80 or something like that. Some elected officials across the nation.
In that 2021 election out on the East Coast, we gained I'd have to verify, but it was a pile of elected libertarians. Yeah. Oh, and don't get me wrong, the news stations got on and talked about a big red wave out there, but no one talked about I think it was close to 100 libertarians that got elected. Yeah.
Do me a favor when you guys get up there.
Oh, we're here. We're here and we're here to party.
We'll kick the shit out of the media for me. Hey, we keep talking about not voting Republican and Democrat. Simpson, about 20 years ago, came up with this. Republican convention inside. We want what's worst for everyone. We're just plain evil. The bottom row. Democratic convention inside. We hate life and ourselves. We can't govern. This is the Simpsons from 20 years ago. I
don't know how he's pulled it off so many times. The writer from Simpsons. What's the guy's name? What's his name? But he's got to be some kind of a philosopher.
Yeah. Yeah.
Washington D.C. needs to be flushed like a toilet. That should be a quote on a T-shirt.
We'll have to make one of those. We'll have to put some T-shirts up on here. I got one more breaking news for you before you roll up out of here, buddy.
Hit me with it.
California, electric vehicle caught fire, okay? And it's starting to cast doubt on some of the green energy claims. So check this out. This electric vehicle got into an accident. 3 weeks, so they moved it to the junkyard. 3 weeks later, it started on fire. So, no idea what was going on. It was sitting in a junkyard. So the fire somebody actually emailed me as a firefighter from around our area because we talked about EVs last week, and they're like, "Holy crap, we have to take special classes for electric vehicles." So the fire department had to use 4,500 gallons of water to put this thing out. They couldn't put it out. The battery kept doing thermal runaway, so they ended up making a pit of water and setting the car in the pit of water just to get it to go out. They could not stop this car. It just kept running away.
You're supposed to disconnect that shit. I mean,
apparently maybe not in a junkyard. I don't know. Well, maybe they did. You never know. It could have been the battery.
So,
go ahead.
So here's what bothers me about electric cars. Not that they're bad, but obviously there's a lot of mining that's taken in place in order to dig up the natural minerals for these batteries. I get it. But there have been other options all along, okay? It was probably 15 years ago, I actually started experimenting with something called a hydrogen generator, okay? This here is you actually take water and you run a positive lead and a negative lead into water. And when those electrons jump across, it actually takes H2O and breaks it apart into something called HHO. Okay, it's called brown gas. It's hydrogen. And that hydrogen is actually 40,000 times more combustible than gasoline. So you could technically get your car or your lawnmower, which I did, run off of water. You got to retard the timing a little bit. And no, that's not a derogatory term. That's actually for sending back your timing so that everything runs properly because of how much more combustible it is. You have to retard the timing so your spark plug sparks at the proper time. But you can literally get your vehicle to run on water. Okay. The rules of thermodynamics say that you can't create energy, you can only transfer energy. So where we struggle with the hydrogen generators, the creation of it and being able to create it just as fast as we need to consume it. Okay. Why have we not been exploring those technologies just as much as we have with electric? Okay. No mining involved. It's literally water. Okay. And now once it combusts, that HHO, once it combusts, it turns back into H2O, it turns back into water. So your exhaust is literally water. Okay. We can do this. It can happen. It's been done before. A gentleman named Stanley Meyer, who died underneath some very sketchy circumstances.
Cranberry juice.
Yeah.
He went to meet people.
But
right, he went to meet people to talk to him at a restaurant.
Stanley Meyer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he drank a glass of cranberry juice. He walked outside.
Yeah.
Died right there on the sidewalk. You want it? You know
Done.
what?
Yep.
Also interesting, the Buffalo shooting that just happened in New York. One of the guys that was killed in that process was working on a car that ran on water. Yeah. Mass shooting.
Weird.
I know, weird, right? You're absolutely right. That does work. Don't do it on cars that have carburetors because it can't regulate that extra gas into your cylinders. So it works great on small engines and stuff. If you can change your timing, or not your timing, the airflow into it, because it gets into your air, right? Hydrogen, you feed it in with your air. So your car says, oh, I've got enough bang. I'm going to back off on my gasoline. I don't need to add as much gasoline. But the cars aren't smart enough for their electronic sensors to be able to handle that these days. Yep.
Yes.
Exactly.
If you had an old school car that had none of the sensors, it's much more feasible. But what ends up happening actually is because you can actually add, and I've seen it done before, you can actually have something called a hydrogen assist and get better fuel mileage. So you have a little hydrogen generator in there, you actually put it into your air intake, and as it's sucking it through your air intake, it actually lowers your fuel mileage. The downside to that is as that hydrogen combusts and goes back into H2O, your oxygen sensor in your exhaust system actually senses that H2O as oxygen. And if your oxygen sensor senses more oxygen, it actually dumps more fuel into the carburetor. Or your fuel injectors actually start dumping more fuel in, and it actually is counterproductive. A nice, easy way to fix that: pull your oxygen sensor out, throw a couple washers in there, slap that bad boy back in so that your oxygen sensor is pulled out a little bit. That is all right. So I tinker on some stuff.
Or you can buy a Chevy because those oxygen sensors never work anyway. You always have a check engine light on your Chevy.
This is true. This is true. This is true. And it's always the O2 sensor. Just pull it right out of there and put a plug in. Cross the wires together, you're fine.
Yep. Hey, electric vehicles, when I was doing this, 500,000 gallons of water it takes to make 1 metric ton of lithium. So it said in this article. And so I'm thinking, holy shit. So I started digging into a lot of the EV stuff, and and I'm not going to go through all that today because I'm going to bash them next week. I'm going to go after electric vehicles because from what I'm reading, holy crap, you are not gaining anything right now by buying electric vehicle. And when it breaks down, you're pretty much got to buy a new damn one because you can't afford to fix it. So I got some information on that one. That'll be next week. I want to bash them. Help me out.
We do have some nice comments in here, though.
So help me out because I replied back.
How can it be legal if Michaels gets? Yeah, how can it be legal if Michaels gets elected as governor for him to take on construction projects funded by the state with or federal funds?
So, and I emailed back because I don't know that much about Tim Michaels.
You make a valid point, but this is. Yep. Well, he's talking about Tim Michaels. If Tim Michaels gets elected as governor, and now all of a sudden Michaels Construction gets all the state projects, how is that not a conflict of interest? It most definitely is a conflict of interest. How could it possibly not be? And this is what we started off with in the first part of the show: is people that have the means are the ones that are getting elected, and they're able to influence the legislatures in order to protect their wealth. This is no different. Same avenue. You're absolutely right. He would then be a state taxpayer employee per se. Then it would be the position as governor, possibly influence him more projects, thus him making a profit off the taxpayer money. Maybe I'm not explaining this right. Oh no, you're hitting it on the head. You're absolutely right.
To be honest with you, I haven't followed any of them because I don't give a shit. I don't plan on voting for a damn one of them. So
Like I said, I'm writing in Jess Hisel for governor, so you're getting at least one vote.
that's awesome. I know of about 10, so I'm about 999,990 away from winning. Headquartered in Brownsville, Wisconsin.
We're working on it, though. We're working on it.
Working on it. Mike is one of the largest, most diversified contractors in North America. Performs work throughout the world. Okay, so just like any other one, he has to step back from his company at the same time, just like Trump did, right? He, of course, said he did. Step back from his businesses, signed everything away. I know, right? Which they don't do. Oh, my God, what's the brain fart? Democratic swing voter guy from like Arkansas. Help me out. He owns.
Yeah.
He owns money into coal. He runs coal plants. He's a partial owner of it. And then the Democrats wanted him to sign on to the Green Deal. He's like, I'm not going to sign on to the Green Deal. No shit. You're running coal companies. Like, what are you trying to get out of this guy? Come on. Man, that's going to be a brain fart for me. Man, I feel guilty now. I don't.
Blows my mind.
Yep. Well, I'm gonna see if I can find it really quick. Sign us off, buddy. Unless anybody's got anything else. We're bashing EVs next week. That's what I'm doing.
What else can we talk about next week? EVs and
4th of July. Tell a military story. You come up with one military story, and I'll come up with one military story. I already got one.
Short story or long story?
Ooh, 7 minutes. No more than
7 minutes. You know what? I got a good one that actually involved Jim Doyle, the governor at the time of the state of Wisconsin. I got a good one.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yep. Oh yeah.
I'm just gonna give up.
So, sorry, got the sign off real short there. Thank you everybody for joining us here tonight. This is the Jess and Jake show, Chasing Liberty with Jake and Looking Forward with Jess. Thank you for joining us all here tonight. If you would like to find out more information about my campaign for the 8th Congressional District. Oh.
Really quick.
Oh, we got a question.
Really yes, I had a question, and I have to respond to this. Meglinger for governor.
Hit it.
So she's an independent, and I tried to run as independent. So I reached out to her, and I said, hey, let's meet up. Let's start doing some stuff together. If you want to do debates, talk, whatever you want to do. And she didn't reply. So I waited about a month, and I emailed her again. She, said, no, thank you. I looked into you. I'm not interested. I'm like, okay, cool. That's it. So she was up north at a farming thing, and I was up there too. And I walked over and I said, hey, how are you doing? I'm Jess Hisel. Nice to meet you. And she goes, why do you keep bothering me? Fucking set me off. Set me off. She was a complete, unbelievable. Never had so many rude comments to me about that. And I ended up, her sister was with her helping her campaign, and her sister was staring at her going, oh my God, why are you talking to this guy this way? I could see it in her face. And I ended up saying, you know what? Thank you for the conversation. You have a great and glorious day. Best of luck to you. And walked away. Could not stand that one. Never, ever let anybody tell me that. She's worth it. She was a nurse. She ended up working at St. Mary's. She ran part of St. Mary's for a while. She is part of the reason we have healthcare problems in the state. If she was any goddamn good at it, St. Mary's would be fixed. But St. Mary's is also one of the damn problems that we have. Overinflated health costs and everything else. So she's part of the problem. She is not part of the solution. Thank you. That's my 2 cents.
Moral of the story. Right in, Jess Hisel for governor. We need to get him more than Mickey Mouse.
That's the only goal. More than Mickey Mouse. I'll take more than Mickey Mouse.
We need to get you more than Mickey Mouse.
Thank you.
Alrighty, folks. Thank you for joining us here tonight. All right. Ready?
All right.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us here tonight. Looking forward to Chasing Liberty with Jake and looking forward with Jess and Jake. So always a good time, always great conversation. We are live right here, same time next week, Wednesday, 7 p.m., where we will be talking about EVs and telling some Army and Air Force stories. So please join us right back here. If you would like more information about my campaign, you can find it at www.jakeliberty2022.com. As always, every campaign needs donations, so please make some donations so we can reach the masses. We do have a chance and an opportunity here to get a third party elected to Congress, which hasn't happened in a very, very long time. So help me boot Mike Gallagher right out of office. If you would like to find more information on the Libertarian Party of Wisconsin, you can find more information there at www.lpwi.org. Please join us and become a member. That helps us grow the message throughout the whole entire state of Wisconsin, while we are currently growing affiliates all over the place. We just met with the XCOM last week, and we added on 2 new affiliates. We are growing. Please join the movement. So thank you all. Good night, and God bless.
And really quick, if you can jump over to the winnetwork.win, check it out. It's organizations across Wisconsin. I'm setting it up. If you know of an organization, I mean, there's thousands of them out there. This is free for anybody. You can put your information up. I'm trying to create a one-stop shop for everybody, so you can go there and just see everybody's information. If you know a group, send it to me. I'm going to put them up there. Eventually, I'll get to videos when I can find that thing called time. I don't know. And then people can be able to see the videos about these organizations as well. So thank you so much. Have a glorious night. Take care, Jake.
Have a good night.